Hey, welcome everybody to a brand new episode of the Die Porsche Podcast. Usually it's me and my partner, Dwayne Wick, but today I have someone a little smarter than Dwayne.
Ooh.
Come on. You hear that voice too, and a much better voice. Look at this. Look who we got. Are you
Poor
all
Dwayne.
on Twitter?
Poor Dwayne. Dwayne.
It's Dwayne, Chris. Let's get it
Dwayne.
right.
Poor Dwayne.
We've added a syllable in there. Welcome, everybody. This is Kris Clewell. I am very excited to have
What's going on, guys?
On the podcast, man. What's going on, dude?
This is it. I'm right in the middle of, I got the engine back there. I'm putting the engine back in the Mercedes. I literally stopped to do this. So once I'm done doing this, it's back to the car, which is, the story of my life is fitting different things in that get in the way of me working on cars.
I would have expected to see some oil or grease on your face. That would have sold it a little better.
I just came out here. My hands are a little bit dirty, but I just got here. So I try to keep the oil and dirt off my face. That's not good for my complexion.
You sold it with the hands. Nice move. That's a good touch. That's how you sell BS. Right? It's just a little bit of dirt on your hands to make everybody.
Just a little bit of dirt. Yeah, if it's too dirty, the guy stuck his hands in a bucket of dirt. That's no good.
Nobody's gonna believe.
There's my wife did a photo shoot of me one time, and she has this idealized version of me like being the dude that works in the garage, and he's greasy, and he's got like the white T-shirt on with probably like the cigarettes rolled up in the sleeve. Was very whatever, and so she did this photo shoot of me, and she put me in a white T-shirt, and I'm like I have this like super clean white T-shirt on with greasy hands, and I'm sitting on my engine. I said, nobody's going to buy this. This is bullshit. This is not how it works. You can't have a perfectly white T-shirt and dirty hands. It just doesn't work that way. But she likes the photo, and that's all that matters. So
it's the Vanity Fair version of the real deal. Kris Clewell.
Yeah.
Kris, you've been at this for a long, long time. You've been in when I say this, I mean kind of the automotive journalist game. I remember reading one of your articles years ago. I want to say it's when you got your first 911 and you drove it. It was an SC. It was a 78 SC or something like that.
That was 78, 79 SC. I don't even remember. Earlier SC.
I just remember reading the article and having read so many articles and so many other BS magazines, and it was like, oh, this guy's like actually one of us. He doesn't have a ton of money. He wanted a 911, so he just got a 911, the only one you could really get. And then you took the risk, like a lot of us did when we were younger, and drove that thing home, not knowing if it would make it. What got you into being an automotive journalist, and why do you like to suffer so much?
Oh, those are two completely different topics.
Are they really? Are they really?
I don't know. I think
I
so.
thought they went hand in hand. I don't know.
We could getting into journalism was like many things for me was born out of spite. There was a car club back in the day, and I was like a little dude with a little digital camera, like click, click, hey, sweet car, click, 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 and I got pretty good at rolling shots and started this thing called Motion Blur Photo, which is still my eBay handle. And because I was like, I love shooting motion. I thought it was really fun. And I started getting kind of, I don't want to say popular, but known in the area. And the dudes that ran this Volkswagen club were kind of elitist dicks, I guess. I was young. They were older. I kind of get it looking back in hindsight, like, who is this punk kid coming around thinking he's hot shit or whatever? And I told them, I'm like, I want to write for PVW, which is Performance VW magazine back in the day. I was like, that's what I want to do. And they just go, dude, F you, you'll never do that. And I went, oh, really? And that was kind of like, I wanted to do it just to spite those guys. And luckily enough for me, it was something that I actually ended up really loving and being decent at. So it's not like I was spiting them to work at Home Depot. Like, you'll never work at Home Depot. I'm like, I'm going to fucking show those guys. I'm going to manage a Home Depot, which I would be terrible at. So it's at least it lucked into something that I ended up loving and being really passionate about. But that's how it was. That's how a lot of things were for many years of my life were born out of pure spite.
Yeah.
I just wanted people would tell me I couldn't do something, and it was, fuck you. Yes, I can. And here we go. Let's do this. and let's see how many people we can get to do it with me.
As a creative, you find yourself just kind of going, wow, you know what? I don't know about you, but I know I'm just like totally unemployable. There's no way in hell anyone would give me more than 2 paychecks. If it
No.
were, so.
Well, I wouldn't last. I mean,
Right.
I held many different jobs over the years. I think the longest running one was I ended up being like a manager at Best Buy. I was like, wow, this is great. I'm making decent money. And there was this one morning because they would have a meeting every once a month, every Saturday morning, or every month on Saturday. They would have this meeting, which is a sales meeting, wherever you have to come in, and you'd have to get up at like 6:30 in the morning. And I remember waking up one day at 6:30 and I go, what am I doing? This is terrible. I'm 22, 23 years old, waking up at 6:30 in the morning to go to Best Buy. I don't even want to go to Best Buy at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Monday. So it just occurred to me that I just did not want to do that. And I tried doing some different things. I sold carpet for a little bit. I tried being carpet salesman guy. God, I so many different mistakes were made. But needless to say, me working for someone else, it just doesn't work. I can't. I have my own ideas, and there's for some reason, they're never the ideas that the boss also has. They're always the opposite ideas of the person that's in charge of me. Whatever it is, I don't know what's up with that, but it never works out. It always ends in disaster.
The boss of you.
I'm the boss of me, so now I only have myself to blame.
You don't have to listen to that guy.
It's hard, it's because it's very easy to tell yourself to fuck off, and I don't want to do fill in the blank. And every day is a vacation day if you want it to be, until the wolves come calling and they want their money. So it's tough to say motivated sometimes, when there is no other motivation other than yourself. It is difficult.
Is that where the name Vacation Land came from, or what's that about?
Wow. Okay, that's a story. So there was at one point my 911 was black with a red deck lid, if you remember, and there was a guy who discovered that car, and his name was Joshy Robots. Discovered the black car with the red deck lid. And so that's how he knew of me and saw me driving around and adventuring with the car. And I was out at Rensport. I think it was Rensport. This is after my transmission had exploded, and I was leaving. And
which Rensport?
Not this one. The 2 previous. It's got to be like 8 years ago. It's got to be. And Joshy's like, hey man, can I just drive? Because now I know Joshy and I get it. By the time he says, hey man, can we just drive together? And I was like, why? Like, why do you want to do this? And he's like, dude, you are a one-way ticket to sports car vacation land, man. I can tell. And I mean, I was like, that stuck with me like really hard. That term stuck with me. So when we were doing the rally stuff, I called him up. I'm like, hey man, you kind of coined that term, sports car vacation land. I'd love to use it because it's a place that I like to go a lot. I've got a punch card to sports car vacation land. And he's like, yeah, sure, use it. So that's the inception of the term.
When you were at this particular Rensport, Joshy's from the Northwest. You're not from the Northwest. You guys were there. I mean, I know this sounds kind of granular, but like, how did that? What do you mean? Let's go drive. Was it like, let's not go to the event? We're in this beautiful area. Let's go find some roads.
Like I was on my way home. So I was on my way home, and he just wanted to hitch a ride for part of the journey. That's it. So he drove with me.
The opposite direction, or how's that work?
Oh, totally the opposite direction. He didn't care. He just wanted to go. He saw the ticket, and they're not available. They're limited tickets. So he wanted it. He wanted his ride, and it was awesome. It was. We ended up in Sequoia National Forest and bombing up the mountains there together, bonding and creating friendship over, roads and camaraderie. It was great.
And is that what started these amazing Overcrest rallies that you do every year now, or how did that work out?
No, that was a journey back from Car Week. So I've driven my car a lot. Yeah. As you know, I've probably put 60 to 70,000 miles on it in 10 years.
Can I interrupt just for a second and just go for anyone who's watching this and that doesn't know who Kris is. He is the host of the Overcrest podcast. I should have mentioned that earlier. But the thing about you particularly, Kris, I admire is that, you know, like so many of us kind of in this classic Porsche community, most of us are kind of in the West, on the West Coast or West Coast adjacent. I'm in Nevada. I'm from the Northwest. It's very easy to go to LA or even the Bay Area. You're not. When you say you drive, you ain't kidding. You're coming from where?
Minnesota. So there was a point where I was driving back and forth to California like twice a year in the car. So I would drive out there, drive home for something. Whether it was Car Week or Luficult or Rensport or whatever, I was driving out there, hanging out for a few days, and then driving home.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't until have you seen Dazil? Did you ever have a chance to watch that?
Sorry, no.
Oh no, that's okay. So that was a film my buddy Alex Nelson and I did on a whim. We said, hey, let's go to a Car Week. And actually, this time, I think I shipped the car out there because we didn't have time to do the drive. Because it's the way I drive. I'm not trying to like haul the mail, right? It's 3 to 5 days to get to California.
Yeah, and you're finding back roads, and you're kind of doing research for stuff at this point, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes. So I think this time I shipped the car out there, maybe, or I drove it there and I left the car there. I don't remember it. There's been so many times. But anyway, so we brought our camera gear with us, and we said, oh, let's film something. And we had done a little bit of work for Nitto Tire and Mike Burrows with Stance Works, like a little promo thing for them. And we're like, well, let's shoot our journey home. Let's do it. So we created this film called Dazil. But there was this point, and I tell a story a lot, so bear with me if you've already heard it. But there's a road called Hogback Ridge in Utah. It's on Highway 12. It's just northeast of Escalante. It's a killer road, and I spent a lot of time with my little friend, the little yellow man, right? The little yellow dude, Google Maps guy. And I'm always dragging him around by his neck and dropping him on different places of the map and looking around. And I saw this, and I'm kind of planning the route home from Car Week, and I'm dropping the little dude all over the place. And I dropped him on this one squiggly spot, and I just went, holy shit. And I saw it was called Hogback Ridge, and I go look at the satellite view, and I'm like, oh, that looks really neat. I'd really like to go there. It looks really beautiful. And you read the reviews of the place, you're like, oh, stunning drive. Oh, seems dangerous. Oh, there's all this stuff. People on Google like review a place, and they take a picture with them and their mom. And so by the time I finally got there, I woke up with Alex, and we were in Escalante, and I wanted to get in my head. I saw that the road ran north-south. So this road runs north-south from Escalante to wherever the fuck it goes. I don't remember. I'm like, okay, if I get up at sunrise, the sun will be coming from the east, and it will be perfectly perpendicular at the time of the year that we were there. It'll be perfectly perpendicular to the car. The light will be incredible. So I wake up, it's 5:30 in the morning, drag my ass out of this little cabin, go outside, and it is the densest fog I've ever been in. Like, I couldn't see the car, which was 10 feet away from the cabin. It was so dense, this fog, which I guess is normal in the desert. I didn't really know. Like, I had no idea that that's what happens. So I'm like, all right, well, let's, sunrise is in 45 minutes, an hour. Let's start driving and see what happens. And I can send you a few pictures if you want. I took some pictures of the car in the fog on some of these little side roads and stuff like that on the way there. And I was so bummed because I remember going, I'm not going to be able to see it. This is one of the highlights of the trip. I wanted to see this place so bad. And I had built it up in my mind. Like, I'm going to Hogback Ridge. This is going to be a place I really want to be. And it's almost like when you have a car that you really want to drive. Like, I remember I wanted to really drive a E28 M5. And I ended up driving an Alpina. But I remember building it up in my mind and building it up. There's going to be this amazing experience, this car. And I did that with this road. And I was kind of worried. I'm like, it's foggy. Maybe it's not going to be as good as I thought it was. Maybe I'm building it up too much. And you're kind of going like this. So it's basically Hogback Ridge is, I think it's Glen Canyon on one side, and then there's another canyon on one side. And if you were to take a piece of spaghetti and just like throw it on the counter, that's what this road is like. And it is right on top of each of these canyons. And there's no guardrails, and there's no runoff. It is, I don't know how the road stays there. No clue. But there's like this much sand on the road on each side. Anyway, so I come out of this fog, and it was like, boom, it was just there. And I remember just being like shocked just like shocked, like literally left breathless. And I let Alex out of the car. I said, hey, we got to get some drone shots of this. This is really special. This is really neat. The light's not going to last that long. So we hopped out of the car, flew the drone up, and so now I'm by myself driving on Hogback Ridge and blah, blah, just driving, tootle around. And I go by this cliffside that's on the left side of the car. And because of where the sun was, the way that I had timed it, perpendicular to the road, you know how you're driving on the freeway and you're like this, and it gets later in the day and you look over and you can kind of see your car in the median, and it's the shadow and you can see yourself, but it's kind of all stretched out and cartoony. This, because it was a wall and it was perpendicular, the silhouette of the 911 was perfect. It was the perfect shape of the car. Perfect shape. And in it was me, because the light was shining right through, and I went like this, and I could see myself. And I remember looking over and just going like this, and I just waved at myself and just had this overwhelming moment of feeling like I was part of that place for that moment. And I cried a little bit, admittedly. I had a moment. I had a little bit of a misty moment there. I'm not like bawling, like I can't drive because my eyes are filled with tears, but I had a moment. And I remember going and picking the Alex back up, and we did the rest of the trip. And I got back, and I could not stop thinking about that moment. That moment where I saw myself on the cliffside of a place that I had wanted to be. And ever since then, I've chased that feeling. The feeling of for me, I like being alone. I really love being alone in my car. Of being alone in a place where I'm experiencing it, and I'm the only one experiencing that place at that time, because it's a rural place. It's a place that takes sacrifice and perseverance to get to. You have to earn it. You have to earn getting there. It's not just like driving to Angeles Crest because you've been there 76,000 times and you're there with 900,000 other people. It's a unique place that you haven't been before. Yeah, there it is. There's the trailer. That's Hogback Ridge right there. Yeah, that's the one. And that feeling,
I have actually seen this film, so I'm sorry. Didn't mean
no, that's okay. That feeling is what I chase. And I had people watch this film and tell me that it inspired them. It inspired them to drive and go and explore. And I go, damn it. Let's see how many people we can get to explore. How many people can we get to do this? And that's it, man. That's kind of how the rally started, is how can we inspire people to get out there and explore and have an experience that's worth the squeeze, you know, outside of just driving where we always drive, going where we always go, seeing somewhere new and experiencing something new and something special. And I think that experiencing new things is really important to the mind too, because when you experience something that you experience over and over and over again, for example, I'll use it again because I'm sick of hearing about it, Angeles Crest, okay? You've been there 50 times. It's not a new experience when you go back. So when you go, your brain goes, okay, here I am. I'm at this place again. Boom. It goes into the file cabinet with all the data that's ever been stored about this place, and it retrieves it immediately. It's like RAM, right? It's like your brain can just go to that memory. It can just grab it, pull it out fast, and you can see it. You don't need to like store it anywhere. It's already there. It's fine. So the concept of time goes by really fast, and you don't have to work very hard, and your brain's not burning any calories to do it. But when you go out and you experience something new, your brain is forced by the physiological way that our brains work. It is forced to slow down, observe, take the data in, analyze, look at it. What is this? Where am I? How is this affecting me? What colors are there? What are the smells like? All these different things that your body just basically is getting beamed into your body, that normally you're just like, I don't even see it. I'm just grabbing these things out of this file cabinet because I don't need to observe it anymore. I'm just robotically going through my life. When it's somewhere new and somewhere special, it slows everything down. Everything slows down and grinds to a halt if you let it. And you can just absorb all of that stuff. And that's what happened to me on Hogback Ridge. And that's the feeling that I'm trying to give to everybody when I'm out scouting the rally and doing stuff like that. Me and the guys are trying to create that petri dish for people.
So it is a big part of it is the people that you're with too, right? I mean, that's one thing about going to something. Okay, yeah, Angeles Crest. You go there multiple times, but you hope that, okay, well, this time I'm going to see someone different, or I'm going to hang out with someone different. That's not always the case. But what you're doing is you're kind of, I'm totally feeling you. It's like, how often, what can you remember about eating breakfast this morning if that's something that you do every day? They all kind of blend together. So that, man, you make me want to go to vacation land right now.
Yeah, and we can't overlook the trivial in life too, though, right? Yeah. I mean, we have to understand that 80, 90, 95, 98% of our life is spent doing trivial things. You know, I'll talk to my kids sometimes and be like, hey, this moment's pretty cool, right? And they'll be like, yeah, this is cool. I said, you will never remember this moment. You just won't, because it's little clips. Like, it's like 4 frames of your life, these little clips. So all that stuff really matters. I don't want to discount the trivial in life, because it's incredible that we appreciate where we are and what we're doing and everything else. But, you know, experiencing those big things and exposing ourselves to new stuff is really important.
Well, remembering those particular moments, I mean, as one filmmaker to another, you mentioned the drive with Joshy and then, you know, the idea of, on this particular thing, okay, let's film ourselves and stuff like that, how much that slows everything down. When you take a trip that should be a day, it winds up taking, like you said, 3 days, because, all right, well, let's go over this ridge. Let's get the shot. Oh, you know what? We need the reverse. Oh, it'd be kind of cool to get a follow. Oh, now you're on that ridge like 40 times. And, most people watching this probably won't be able to relate with that. But is capturing those individual moments so that you can relive them later and that other people can join in those moments, is that your motivation for making films about this stuff? Or is it just, what is that? Why make it so hard on yourself?
I don't necessarily make films about it. I mean, I did the Dazil film on a whim, but I don't really document anything like that anymore. It's just not something I do. I don't want to. I don't want to. I mean, I've been offered a couple times to do some films and stuff like that, and I think if the right opportunity came up, I would do it. But generally, I just like experiencing it, and I'll document it with stills, and then write about it later. Is what I've done the most, is writing and talking experientially about things. And I think that's a good way to, when you see something in film, you're observing something. You know, it's difficult for you to watch something and perceive yourself doing it. Like, it's difficult for your imagination to simultaneously observe someone else doing something and also imagine yourself doing it at the same time. But when you are reading something and you're like I wrote an article for 000 about my road trip, about a different road trip, actually. This is, I think, on the way back from Rensport, driving out to Rensport and then home. It's 50 pages long about that journey. And the way I wrote it was in such a way that you could imagine yourself doing it. You say I as little as possible. And you give the opportunity for the reader to immerse themselves. And I think that's something that's different between writing and filmmaking, is that you can read and at the same time imagine yourself doing it or immerse yourself in that. It's not something, you're not watching someone else experience something. When you're reading a story, I think you're actually experiencing that story. I think it's a different type of medium.
Well, is that what kind of inspired you to kind of, you've been writing about cars and road trips and all these things for so long, and now you have done something totally different. And I don't know if this is something new for you or not, but you just released a book, a dystopian Western, that is...
Yeah, this is it right here.
It.
This is...
Love it. Yeah, for those of you who are just listening, Kris just put up some
1975 stuff.
fiction, yeah.
No, this is the book right here.
Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden, this guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for, Godden Porsche of Las Vegas.
If you don't subscribe to Bid Nerds on YouTube right now, I'm gonna shoot this 997. If you said, wait, that's a 996, you're a nerd. So subscribe to the new YouTube channel, Bid Nerds.
Get those nerds!
The Penrose Triangle. What is... one, congratulations for getting the book done and out. I know how difficult that can be.
Yeah.
I've never written a novel, but I've written tons of screenplays and lots of copy and boring stuff over the years.
Yep.
So having to actually churn out a hardcore, not a hardcore, but a novel, I can only imagine how much sweat and tears that must have gone through. Tell me about it. Or was it super easy? Did you just gush it out and this is what you want?
It was interesting. I'm not sure exactly what the inception of it was, but I wrote the prologue for the book long before I wrote the book. So I had this idea of a story that I wanted to write, which was somehow, and it evolved far beyond this. Let me just disclaimer that the book moved far beyond this exact concept, but it's there a little bit. But you ever play Twisted Metal back in the day?
I'm not a big gamer.
Okay, well, some people listening will remember. Yeah. They will remember on PlayStation, there was a game called Twisted Metal where you basically got to pilot cars in a deathmatch arena. So I would say that I wrote the prologue with that in mind, and I was like, oh, I really want to write about this thing, but I want it to be a personal story about an individual. So I wrote this prologue, and in the prologue, there's a girl who is basically dying next to a car, and there's another car also smashed to bits, and there's a guy that's dead next to the car that's over there, and she ends up basically getting pulled out of the car by referees or whatever, and put on the ground, and she's just bleeding to death. And it's a really, really visually painted scene. And that's kind of as far as I got with the prologue, as basically she just decides that she's no longer going to believe in God at the end of the prologue. And then I decided I was going to extrapolate an entire story out of this prologue, which was not how you're supposed to write a book, right? That is not how you're supposed to do it. But I did, and it ends up the prologue is something that the book insinuates that it's leading up to. So you're kind of getting a glimpse into the future with the prologue. But it's a great story about a young girl who grows up on a ranch in the near future in the Flint Hills of Kansas. And she's subservient to a government, which is called Mercury, which is now Denver. So it's been renamed to Mercury now. It's like the last city in the continental United States. And so they are basically a ranch that provides meat and goods to the city. And she grows up in this place not knowing who she is. And the book tells you that she is someone very special and very integral to the integrity of the city itself. So it's a journey of revenge, vengeance, self-discovery, and the consequences of all of those different things. It's a fantastic book. I truly think it is a good book, and I wouldn't say that if I didn't think that. Right here, it's available now, Amazon. Do your thing.
Cool. So it's got a cool cover artwork there. Who did the artwork?
His name is Shu. His name is Peter. He's very incredible. He did a bunch of character art for me as well. And if you look at the cover, there's a lot about this cover that you can see that kind of leads you into understanding what the book is about, with the wall and the girl with the flashlight. So obviously you've got a horse, which leads you to know that some people don't have shit. And then you've got the city, it looks like a technological marvel. So it gives you a hint of the disparity in the civilization there.
So Elon Musk was wrong in your vision of the future. He said in the future, owning a car will be like people who own horses today. They're just enthusiasts. Now in your future, that's pretty much what people are using to get around again.
Sort of. I mean, in this, so there's the city of Mercury, and it's a caste system. There's 5 different walls in the city. Each segment of the city has a different wealth of people with different intellectual abilities and cultural abilities and jobs and things like that. and they all just have like little autonomous pods that they go around in, right? Out in Old Kansas, I call it, you do have the option, if you can drive a car, you get allotted a certain amount of fuel per month that you can use to do your.
They actually use ice.
There's synthetic fuel. Yep,
Okay.
there's synthetic fuel that is created by the city so that these ranchers and farmers can provide for the massive city of 5 million people. So it's almost kind of like the Soviets did back in the day, where nobody owned the land. You just farm the land for the city.
For that, I think it starts with a C or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Without getting into that stuff. You didn't send me a copy to read ahead of the interview.
You know what? Here's what sucks. Like I am self-published and it's print on demand.
Yeah.
So I have like this copy right here. I paid full price for this copy. So I don't get to have like the benefit is I don't have to have 1,000 books in my garage in cardboard boxes to send out. The bummer is I don't have any copies to send anybody, but I will get you a copy of the audiobook.
Honestly,
I can do that.
I'm happy to pay for it. I'm a firm believer in supporting friends who are creatives, and whatever the price is, I'm sure it's reasonable, and I'm happy to contribute, and I'm looking forward.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, you don't have to send me a promo code, but if someone else
there's some really cool hero cars in the book.
Yeah,
there's some things to discover, some great characters that honestly write themselves at this point. They're good, deep characters that are wonderful to be around and read, and it's a good world to experience.
Did you just mention that there's going to be an audio version? Are you reading the voice?
There is an audiobook. Yeah, I hired an award-winning Audible book reader.
Oh wow!
Narrator.
Narrator. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Is that a thing still? I mean, can you just
use
an
dude.
AI voice? Can you just use an AI voice generator?
You can. I plugged mine into some AI stuff. Sounds like it's terrible. They don't understand context. Yeah, I think if you were reading like a nonfiction book about biological imperatives, it would probably work. But for something like this that there's different voices, there's different inflections, there's being able to pause when you're supposed to pause when you're reading is a big deal. And AI is just not there yet. It'll probably get there at some point, but I think we're a long ways away. Like if you look at ChatGPT 3.5 going to 4, the least amount of progress it made was in like literature and stuff like that, and being able to write and sound human. So it's we're not there yet.
It's passable for certain applications, but yeah, for actually reading a book, I can imagine that. It's funny, you have to put exclamation points on everything, like on 11 Labs, in order for it to not be flat, and you have to spell out stuff.
I bet there's 5 exclamation points in this whole book, probably 5.
Right.
I would maybe 0. There might be 0 exclamation points in the whole book.
Are there any ellipses?
I hate them. And ellipses. I don't think so.
The only thing I hate worse than exclamation marks is ellipses. All right, so everybody check out the book one more time. The title.
The Penrose Triangle. It's on Amazon, Audible, Kindle. It's a genuinely good book. It's the first in a series. I'm already on book 2.
Nice.
I had a ton of beta readers read the book to help me develop it. It's a series. It's a real deal. I'm not selling yoga pants and candles to you here. It is genuinely a good book. I hope you check it out. Hope you enjoy it.
An artist that you guys all love already. So, all right.
Honestly, the support I've gotten from the community has been incredible. And if anybody that has bought the book that's listening, thank you. It's been wild, the support.
Since we're getting close to the end here, I want to make sure that we get a chance to talk about the next rally. Are you ready to promote that? What's going on? What do you want to tell us?
Yeah, man. The rally is in October this year. I think 12th through the 14th, and we're going to do a bonus day if anybody wants to do a bonus day. I guess that's news. I haven't told anybody that yet. It's in Oregon, as much as I can say there. I'll probably go scout the rally in June. I will go and drive probably for 10 to 14 days in Oregon. Last year I bought that W123 wagon, and I drove that around for about 2,000 miles of logging roads and roads in Idaho to find the route.
Nice.
Yeah, so I pretty much pour everything I've got into finding that route and making it a good and special driving experience and personal experience for people. It's really important to me that everybody has a great experience driving. And then we have the film festival as well, which is the capstone for the event.
Nice. All right. You gonna show Cars Unknown in this season? Maybe I'll send you an episode of that. What was I gonna say? The just East Oregon. Are you gonna go into Western Oregon?
I don't know yet. It's difficult because Western Oregon has beautiful roads. It really does. There's also a lot more people and a lot more rain.
Yep.
So yeah, in Eastern Oregon is also underrated. It is extremely beautiful, abandoned, completely desolate, and a wonderful place to be. So I'm not sure yet. I don't know.
Have you spent any time in Southern Oregon, down by Medford and that kind of area? There's some amazing roads on the west side of the mountains, and the weather tends to be a little better that time of year.
Yeah. I've been down there. I've been all over the place. I have not been in Western Oregon proper by the ocean and in that area, but I've driven across Eastern Oregon into Northern California several times.
Yeah, I can tell you in October, northwestern Oregon is going to be wet. But if you want, reach out to our friend Matthew Weitzel over at 914 Rubber. That's his neck of the woods, and he knows some amazing roads. I went on
if anybody has ideas for roads they love, definitely hit me up.
In Oregon, you got to watch your speed in Oregon, because I don't know what it is. I think if it's 25 over the speed limit, they will impound you. So just keep that in mind.
Slow car fast.
One of those states, yeah. Well, on the rallies, what are the cars that are allowed to go on? You restrict it in some regard, but they're not really published restrictions. It's not like cars 76 and older like some of the rallies are. Tell me about the type of people and cars that you're looking to come on the rally.
So the application process opens at end of May and early June-ish. And it's kind of a case-by-case type of thing. It's not only the car, but we also have a little section that says, why do you want to come? Like, why do you want to be there? What is it about this event that makes you want to go? And what you write there matters just as much as the car. So we want to keep things a little bit older. We like having a similar class of cars. We've made some exceptions before, but I mean, if you're driving around in a 1973 911S and you've got a GT3 on your ass, or if you're in an old Alpha and some dude's in a brand new V10 M5, you don't want that. It's no good for anybody. Yeah. It's not good for the guy in the Alpha. It's not good for the guy in the BMW. So it's good to kind of keep cars that are classed together in terms of capability, power, feel, prestige, everything else. Kind of try and keep things homogenous that way.
Yeah. And the film festival, you always do that at a drive-in movie. That's pretty cool.
We have in the past. We have a different idea for this year.
Oh, okay.
If you'd like to submit any films that you guys love, I'd love that. You go to overcrestproductions.com and submit any films from anything that you've seen throughout the year that you truly love. We'd love to take a look and see about. We've expanded it this year. We have a lot more categories that you can win at the film festival this year, like best YouTuber, best what would it be? I keep saying fiction because I'm like a writer. I got writing on the brain right now, but best documentary, best film, like best feature, all this stuff, different things. We've got a lot of different options for people to submit so that we can recognize some of these creators beyond the algorithm, right? Beyond being like, oh, this reel got 200,000 likes, it must be good. I think we can do better than that. And that's what the Film Fest is really for.
Nice. Well, everyone, check out Overcrest Productions. Check out all the content that Kris and his partner Jake are putting out. Is that how I talk about Jake? Is he your partner? Can I say that? Or is
Jake? Yeah, my smaller other. Yeah.
I get that. We were trying to collect some shoes for him because we realized that he doesn't. Apparently you don't pay him anything and he can't afford shoes, so he's running around with the sandals all the time.
Yeah, that's got to be what it is. Yeah, it's got that and the boots with like 2-inch heels hidden in the back.
Is that another one? Okay, yeah. So that's okay. Gotcha. Not that any one of us on this current episode is particularly tall.
Hey, I got to take it where I can get it. I'm taller than somebody. That's a big deal.
My normal partner, Duquesne Wick, is
Duquesne.
You could probably sit on my shoulders and we still would have a hard time.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You and I and your partner Jake, we both fit in 911s far better than Dwayne does.
Yeah,
Dwayne's always
no problem.
hunched over in there. He had to lower his seat and take out the. Yeah.
I can drive anything. That's great. I could hop into 917 tomorrow and drive it.
Cars were
No
built
problem.
for guys our size.
Yeah.
On that note,
Italians.
right? Thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out for this special edition. Thank you, Kris, for hanging out with me. And
You're welcome.
taking the time, and I look forward to reading your book. Everyone should go out and buy it.
Appreciate that.
Man, I want to go on the rally this year, especially since it's kind of in my old neck of the woods. I think
Come on up.
Maybe we can get a group, like a Vegas crew. You know what? Before we go, I actually do have one more question for you. Luftkult, Luft 9 is coming up. Are you driving out for that?
I am. Well, my car is in LA right now.
Okay.
So I'm flying out there, and then I'm driving up to Luftkult,
Okay.
and then my daughter's flying out, and we're going to drive the car back home. So
okay. All right. You're not
it's
gonna
finally
use that
coming
as
home.
a way to go scout roads for.
No, I don't want to scout at the beginning of into April, early May. There's too much roads that are still going to be closed.
Yeah. Is there gonna now? There's been a lot of kind of weird stuff going on about a drive on Friday before Luft. They're talking about one kind of by Alice's Professor Run, and then now there's something else going on maybe up in Napa since the venue is Mar Island is pretty far north of the city. It's kind of by Vallejo, closer to wine country than it is really the city at this point. Any thoughts on any of that stuff or no?
Nope.
Nope. He's like, nope. You're just gonna go along to get along.
Yeah, probably. I haven't heard about any of that. Dude,
Yeah.
I live in Minnesota. Nobody tells me shit. I'm up here. This is where I live. Nobody tells me anything. So I'll probably just cruise up by myself, or
Watch a few episodes of the Die Porsche Podcast, and you can get in on all the drama. And everybody, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on the next episode. See you, Kris.
Take care, guys. Thank you.